You know, it really bothers me that I can't hear the hand clapping. It's bad. All right, you're listening to Geek Vice. Nothing too horrendous about us except for our host lost his geek cred, and his man card by going to one movie. And you know what I'm talking about, North.
I know what you're talking about. And if you are listening to this and you don't know, you should go check out episode number 78, where Kip is MIA, and I talked to a couple of other people, Eddie from the Doug and Eddie Show, and Isabel Torrey, author extraordinaire, and I talked to Eddie about the fact that I went and saw Pitch Perfect 2, and I have not seen Age of Ultron yet. So
that is just so wrong on so many levels. I was listening to it while I was at the gym, and I just wanted to. I wish I could give feedback at that moment. It's like, what? You had Age of Ultron is in the theater, and you went and saw Pitch Perfect 2.
I know.
I cried a little. I did.
I almost walked right past the theater doors for Pitch Perfect 2 and almost walked straight into the Age of Ultron one. I'm like, they're never gonna know. It's at this small rinky-dink movie theater where nobody ever goes to it. So
yeah, and I'm sure your wife wouldn't notice until it's time to get to the car and leave, right?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. She had no interest seeing it with me. We were there with a bunch of other people too, so it was actually kind of fun to go see it with a group of people. Usually, if I go see a movie, it's with maybe one or two people. But this one there was I think 5 or 6 of us that went, so it was kind of fun in that aspect. But especially making fun of all the people that were there as well. So it's always
just going makes fun of yourself. You do realize this, right?
I realize this, but it was kind of fun to it made me feel like I was back in high school. I got to make fun of high school kids again. So
well, okay, I can go with that.
But anyway,
but we're gonna have one more. We're just gonna have to make sure that you go and see something like Ant-Man. So I'm just gonna have to come and kidnap you, and drag you to the movie theater when it comes out.
Yes, I agree with that one, and I have talked to your lovely wife about that one, and so I think that one is gonna happen. I've at least have it on my calendar. So,
all right.
We'll make that one happen. We'll go see Ant-Man. And you know what, people out there listening to this who have we've rambled on long enough, and we haven't even started the episode yet, but maybe, just maybe, we'll let you know where we're going to go see Ant-Man at beforehand. Follow us on Twitter at GeekVice, or just listen to us here on the podcast. And if we know, we'll put it out there on where we're going to go see it at, and maybe you guys can come meet us and see it too. What do you say about that there, Kip?
That sounds pretty awesome. The more the merrier.
That's what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's go to episode number 79, because that's what episode we're on now. Welcome everybody to Geek Vice, a podcast by two geeks just trying to be heard in a world now flooded with geeks. I'm Morph, that's Kip. We're ready to rock and roll here. So how are you doing this evening, Kip?
I'm in mass depression because I have to go back to work tomorrow after 10 days off.
Yeah, I can understand that being a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It really
I've only
is.
had 3 days off, and I don't want to go back to work.
This working for a living stuff has got to stop. There's got to be a better way.
So anyone who wants to send us money so that we can quit our jobs and we can make more shows, then I guess we could do that. We've already got a few. We need to get we've got, if you like listening to kind of like favorites and worst topics, we do another podcast called Geekfecta. You can find that on YouTube right now. We'll get that on the podcast circuit here soon. But that one's with the guys from Prolific Games, Bill and John. John shows up occasionally. Bill's on there all the time. So, and occasionally Kip's there, but usually it's just me and Bill.
Well, fine.
There's
for some reason Thursday nights have been tough.
Yeah. And you know what? We're also looking at another doing another podcast here with John and Bill that is a role playing podcast. So we're going to look at, and this kind of goes into my topic for tonight. We are looking into doing a podcast, a role playing podcast. So it's kind of like a tabletop game. Bill is writing and being the GM for it. John Harris and Kip and myself will be playing in it, and it's in the Savage Worlds storyline, or I guess rules. And but Bill has kind of home cooked up this story and this setting. It looks really cool. It sounds really cool. And if you like Prolific Games stuff, their games that they've made and sell, then you are probably going to like this because it's the same guys. So you got to give them something.
You do, and role-playing games I think works perfectly for those two guys. It's going to be a little bit tricky for me, but that's just because I'm boring. But other than that, I think it should be a lot of fun.
Well, and it's going to be interesting because you and I have limited experience with role-playing games. We've both played Pathfinder, and so that's kind of more of a mathematical and like very visual type thing where you have a character, you have a miniature on a map with all these other bad guys around, and you need to make sure that you're going to place a spell in the right spot to get the most number of people, and you can only move so far. And it sounds like, from what I've read of the Savage Worlds and what Bill's kind of told me going back and forth, that this isn't really so tied to that very strict path. This is more of a we're not going to have a map in front of us. It's just going to be four guys sitting online telling a story, and we're each going to have our part. Bill's going to lay out a scene or a situation, and then we're each going to tell our little part of the story with what our character is going to do, and then he's going to tell us what we need to roll and how that's going to work. It sounds really cool. I like the idea, and I've already started building my character for it. Bill and I've been emailing back and forth. I've created. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't know if Bill wants to keep all this stuff secret until from each other. And since Kip's playing, maybe I need to keep my guy secret. Bill will let me know. But him and I have gone back and forth. We kind of have a archetype picked out. We have a backstory kind of written. We have a description kind of written for my character. And I think probably not this Thursday, but I think next Thursday, him and I are going to talk either before or after Geek Fecta and kind of maybe get some of the more statistics plugged in for my character, and then I might have a character, and that will be cool.
Do you have a name for this character?
No, I do not, because naming characters I'm really, really bad at. Naming anything I'm bad at.
Well, Ishabel wants to know if this role-playing involves erotica at all, and it possibly could if we drink enough. So...
I'm gonna guess that yes, there probably could be some. It's not gonna be from me because I'm really bad at that anyway. Just ask my wife.
The man who has two kids.
Yeah, I'm past that point. There's no hope for me.
Well, you guys are at hallway sex now, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You pass each other in the hallway and say, fuck you.
Exactly. Yep, that's pretty much it.
I just got a very dirty look from my wife, so there you go.
But you know what? If I'm assuming Ishabel's listening live then, so I might have to hit her up with my character description and maybe have her writing expertise help me come up with a name for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say she may come up with a great name. That would be a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ishabel will be looking for an email here in the next couple weeks. So when I have some more stuff finalized, but this is really kind of cool. I'm having fun with it. I'm reading the I guess the Explorers edition of Savage Worlds, and it's kind of fun. I'm looking forward to this. The combat looks really simple. It doesn't look too complicated.
Well, is it going to be different from Pathfinder, where each turn is 6 seconds, but it takes 35 minutes to plan those 6 seconds out?
Honestly, I don't think it really is. Like, it's not that. I'm sure there's a rule to it, but it's more like this game is more abstract than Pathfinder. So it's more. It really is about storytelling. It's about kind of throwing out like, okay, I want to do this, so I'm going to roll this, or I'm going to attack and I'm going to attack with this weapon. Okay, well then you need to roll this dice. But it's I think it's going to be a lot more of we tell Bill what we want to do and then he'll tell us how to do it. There's, there in character creation, there's these what are they called? Hindrances and like edges, I think. Yeah. They're kind of like skills, except they're more like for the role-playing side of it. And hindrances are really supposed to be for the role-playing side. Some of them are, some of these things are like one of the hindrances, it can be delusional, and the character suffers from grave delusions. There's no stat for that. It's just that's how you're going to treat your character. That's how you can play your character. But then there's some of them in here like bad eyes. You get a -2 to attack or notice something more than 5 inches in distance. So that's got a stat to it.
So you have to take your glasses off when you play that character then?
Yeah, exactly. That should be just fun. Since I
so
can't
what
know anything.
Ishabel wants to know how similar it is to D&D. From what I can tell, there's a little bit of similarity, especially if you get into the role-playing game. I just think the mechanic, as far as combat and things like that's a lot different. But other than the role-playing aspect, I think is pretty much the same. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say if you're looking for a system that's similar to this, I think the Fate system out there, this is kind of, when you set up your character, you're not going to be rolling, like with D&D and Pathfinder, you have like, okay, this attack is a 2d8 plus 10. In this one, it seems to be more just like, oh, okay, you want to attack with this thing, you're going to use strength, and your strength, based off of how you created your character, is either a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, D12. So it's a lot simpler. It's a lot less mathematic driven and a lot more abstract and storytelling driven. Where D&D and Pathfinder is very mathematical. Like if you're not a stats geek, you're gonna have a hard time playing D&D. Some of the older versions.
I'm a huge stats geek.
Yeah. So, but in this one, I mean, this will, I think, allow you to be a little more creative. I think you're gonna do okay with this because you're gonna have Bill and John to feed off of. Because you can come up with some pretty creative stuff. And that's what this really sounds like. It really just sounds like storytelling.
Well, I can't wait to give it a try. It's going to be a lot of fun. And since, we do have Ishabel paying attention here, I think this is a good opportunity for her as an author to create an erotica version of Savage Worlds. I mean, the name is already Savage Worlds, so she's halfway home.
Yeah, and go check out their website. See www.peginc.com. That's peginc.com. Go check out their stuff, because there is a lot of different kind of like home brewed scenarios and settings for this. I bet you if you jumped on their forums, I wouldn't be surprised if you found an erotica section of that.
Yeah, I found a Star Wars section of it. I have a copy of that. But, yeah, I'm sure you could come up with anything. You just have to be creative and a good writer, and there you go. That's why I haven't done any of those things.
But it would be perfect for Isabel. So there you go, Isabel. You can make money by coming up with a new scenario for that. Maybe even Savage Worlds will pay you.
It's gots to get paid.
Gots to get paid. So Kip, last week you were off in the mountains of flat Nebraska.
Yes.
So what do you got for us this week?
Well, my camping fishing trip was cut short because Mother Nature, when she hears I'm going fishing with my dad, goes, "Oh, it must be winter," and turns winter back on. So first day, this is how it went. First day, sunny, beautiful. I even got sunburned. Second day, froze. It was so cold. It rained and the wind blew, and it was 41 degrees. Imagine being in the wind, 41 degrees, and soaking wet. Yes, that's how warm I was. So we finally just said, "This sucks," and we packed it all up and headed back to my folks' house. But it was fine. Still had a good time. Then the next day was gray, still kind of chilly, but it didn't rain anymore. So we decided, let's get out the guns and go shooting, because when you live out in the middle of nowhere, that's just something you do.
Right.
And my dad is perfectly set up for the zombie apocalypse. In fact, he did say over the week I was there that he hopes to live long enough that he gets to shoot a zombie in the head. So, life goals, there you have it.
That's
now
awesome.
You know where I get it. But
that is awesome.
So we did that, and then I came home and played some Lego games on the PlayStation 4, the usual stuff. But then we kind of got bored and went to Netflix, and we found this show that you have to check out, Morph.
Okay.
I think you're going to love it as much as I did. And it's called The Quest. And it was on ABC last summer, started like July 31st or something like that. It's only 10 episodes. They're all on Netflix. And it's basically LARPing meets Survivor. These contestants are thrown in to this world called Evermore. Yes, Evermore. You think they could come up with something better, but they didn't. They get to live in a castle. There's actually, besides it being like Survivor, they're actually telling a story. These people got thrown into this story. There's this bad guy named Vorlox who's pretty much taken out. There's 12 kingdoms. He's taken out 11 of them. You're thrown into the last one. And these 12 people came in with no training. They're thrown in with this guy who's like head of the Queen's Guard, and he's teaching them how to use swords, ride horses, all the stuff. And then they have challenges every week. And then the three bottom in the challenges have to go meet the Fates, which are these three hot chicks that are really bossy. And then they have one more challenge. The person who wins that challenge is automatically safe. The two who are left over, the rest of the people vote on who they want to keep. So that's the Survivor part of it. But they do a really good job of immersing these people and the people watching the show into the story, and you actually start rooting for these people. There's one guy named Shondo who is an MMA fighter, and you can't help but like this guy. He's all about the competition, and he's all about no conniving, none of that stuff. He just wants the best, like he says, the cream to rise to the top. So he's awesome. And I don't know, I didn't hear about this show when it was on, and now I keep looking on the internet to see if it's been renewed for season 2 or whatever, which I have not found anything definitive yet. But check it out. It is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah, we have one more episode to go. That's why we got a late start on the podcast tonight. I had to get episode 9 out of the way. Now we got to watch the finale tomorrow night. The top 3 is a little bit of surprise. 2 of them I expected. The third one I did not.
So is this something where people get like voted off, or do they get just killed off, or
they get voted off, and then they go to this area that's kind of like a ruin, and
okay.
the three fates get up there and they do their thing, and then when you get voted off, they're like, now go meet your destiny or meet your fate or whatever. Yeah, meet your fate. And then they walk out the door, and it makes it look like they disappeared. And then they put kind of this image up in them, like one of these windows, and it's pretty cool. Yes, Jezebel, I liked Bonnie as well. You got to watch the show. It's there's people on there you can tell they're on there because either the way they look or they're wannabe actors or whatever. And then there's a few people on there like Bonnie, who Isabel's talking about. You can tell just got totally into the whole geek culture, LARPing, that kind of stuff. And you root for those people more than the others. But I don't know. We started watching it because we thought, well, this will be a hoot. Give us something to just kind of laugh. But I don't know if Holly enjoyed it as much as I did, but I freaking love it. So I'm hoping that they do a season 2. So if you get a chance, it's on Netflix. The Quest. There's only 10 episodes. We only started watching it last night, and we only have 1 left. So that tells you how quick it goes.
Yeah.
And they always, at the end, after they kick the people off, that's not the end of the episode, and then they go back and they're doing stuff, and then some cliffhanger will happen, like they're under attack or whatever, and then the episode ends, and then you have to find out what happens on the next episode. So, yeah, it's outstanding. Give it a shot if you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. That's interesting. Okay.
Yep, and the whole time I'm like, oh, I would love to be on this show. How freaking awesome would that be? They got to shoot. They got to do archery. They got to use these things called scorpions, which are the bigger bows, crossbow kind of things. All these really cool things they got to do. A few of them I would not want to have done. There's this one where they had dragon eggs down this pit, and they had to get them out of the pit without actually touching the egg. Yeah. And the eggs were about the size of one of those big coolers that you pull that has the wheels. It's about that size. It looked like it might have weighed 15, 20 pounds.
Huh.
So, yeah, getting it out of this pit that's 12 feet deep, not being able to touch it with your hands, I'm sure that sucked. But it was entertaining TV. But, yeah, I really liked it, and I'm hoping they're doing a season 2. And the person I want to win better frickin' win.
Well, I won't tell you who wins then.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm looking up looking on the Wikipedia page. This is actually kind of interesting. It does look. I mean, it looks exactly like Survivor, but with a medieval twist to it.
And there's people who are playing characters, so it's not just the contestants. There's actually people playing characters. There's a queen. There's the head of the guard.
Huh.
There's a guy who he's called the Vizier. Not knowing that kind of era, I don't know what the fuck a vizier is, but he seemed to be kind of the the alchemist, perhaps.
Yeah.
He seemed to have some actual cures for poisoning and stuff like that. So, he's the sword and sorcery version of a voodoo doctor, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there's extras all over the place.
Did you ever watch Disney's Aladdin?
Yes.
Jafar was a vizier.
Okay. See, I just don't know these things.
I got your back.
Yeah, that's
I'm
cool.
full of worthless information.
Yeah, we're both full of something.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so see The Quest. The other thing you should see...
Whoopi Goldberg apparently loves this show.
Well, then, there you go. If Whoopi Goldberg loves it, then you know it's good.
All right. What else do you got for us tonight?
Well, before I went on my ill-fated camping trip, we went and saw Mad Max Fury Road. And from the trailers and everything you see, you're thinking, this is a movie, you sit your butt down in the chair, you turn your brain off, and you just enjoy the ride. I am happy to say it's not that movie. It's actually a fairly deep movie considering it's just one long car chase. It is a freaking good movie. We walked out of that going, that movie's insane. That's the best way to describe that movie. It's insane. I've never seen a movie like it. Probably won't see another one like it again. But wow, there was a couple times they showed stuff, and out loud I said wow, and I don't talk in movies, so yeah. If you get a chance, you should see that movie more. It is great, and being called Mad Max, a little bit of a misnomer. He's like a minor character. Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, seems to be the main character in this particular story, and of course she's always good.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those movies where each scene you're like, well, they can't top that, and then they do. And a review I read, I can't remember what paper or website it was on, but the guy said there's no down moments. The movie never really stops. It just relents for a minute. And that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's just action, 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 kind of a lull, but then action, 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 action. It's great. And with all that said, you'd think dumb movie, but it's not. It's not a dumb movie whatsoever. So I know you won't see it in the theater, which is where you should see it. But if you do get a chance, whatever medium you get to see it on, it's worth the look. Go see Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, I have heard tons and tons of good things. I've heard nothing but praise for that movie. I think you're saying it right in the sense that it's really kind of surprised some people. Just kind of in good it has been. Whoops. I got muted for some reason because I slammed on my keyboard too hard. Don't slam on your keyboard.
That's right.
Yeah. The
learning tips from more.
So just to kind of throw this out here, Rotten Tomatoes has this at 98%. 250 reviews counted, 245 call it fresh, only 5 call it rotten. That's how good the critics are treating this movie. And if you go with an audience score, it only drops 7%. It's 91%. Average rating is 4.4 out of 5, and you're looking at almost 61,000 reviews. So that's pretty impressive for a movie, and especially a Mad Max movie, because I was never really a big fan of the first one, the original. This is kind of because this is more of a continuation of the story, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is, but you could see this movie without seeing any of the previous Mad Maxes,
right?
And be completely fine. There's the original Mad Max, Road Warrior, and Beyond Thunderdome.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond Thunderdome completely sucked. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Mad Max and The Road Warrior, I think, were pretty decent movies. Plus, I saw them, as a teenager, so they just kind of hit where they needed to hit for a teenage boy. But this one is, I don't know, it stands alone. You don't have to see the Mel Gibson versions whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the best way to say it. It's not a dumb movie. Even though you'll say things like that was insane and it was nonstop action, it is not a dumb movie. It is pretty deep. The characters have a lot of depth to them. It's surprised the hell out of me. I knew I was going to like it. I just didn't think it was going to be that good, and it was that good.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So go see Mad Max Fury Road.
Do it now.
Movie. So while we're talking about movies, we can throw out there, this came out, I saw this on Tuesday of last week. I don't know, I think it might have came out, the information was probably out on Monday, but I didn't have it before we started podcasting last week. But the first images of the Warcraft movie by Blizzard there was some pictures put out over the last week of Ogrim the Orc, and then also, I don't know if the date had been out there before. I didn't have it on my list of movies as a date, but June 16th, 2016 is the date that this Warcraft movie is going to come out.
Which is pretty awesome because that's my birthday. So I'm sure they did it, because it's my birthday.
Right. I would expect Blizzard to go look at probably one of 5 people in the entire world that don't play a Blizzard game, and made sure that it was on that person's birthday, so maybe they go play a Blizzard game and spend some money for Blizzard.
Well, you and I are the only people that haven't given Blizzard any of our money, so they're targeting us. We're on the radar.
Yeah. Well, I have given them some money because I played the original Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 back in the day, and then I never got into World of Warcraft because I don't like the day because I don't like playing with other people. I like playing by myself. So
that's what your wife says. Oh.
I was lobbing it up there for you.
I think I hit that one on the fence, I hope, anyway.
So taking a look at these pictures, what do you think there? What do you think, Kip? First impressions?
I think the makeup and everything on that is pretty freaking good. He's a pretty menacing looking dude. Knowing nothing about the world that this is in, I still want to see it. I mean, just based off this first image of Ogrim, looks pretty tantalizing. Let's just use that word. Tantalizing is a good word.
That's for Ish right there. This is really interesting. I'm excited to see this because it's Blizzard, and that is probably my favorite thing of all of the Blizzard games that I've played, and I've played a lot of them. I don't play World of Warcraft, but I've played a lot of their other games, and their cutscenes, their in-game movies are just phenomenal. I mean, they make me want to go back and watch them over and over and over again. And some of their writers that they have, they're writing stories. Their stories are always real good in their games. I enjoy them, at least. And then, there's a few of their writers that have gone off and written comic books, like Chris Metzen at Blizzard has written some of the Transformer stories, and those are some of my favorite Transformer stories in the comic book form. And so I'm curious to see what's going to come out of this. I also think this is going to, even if this movie tanks and isn't very good, if it looks really good and can be done for a budget that another movie could replicate, this could change the game for animation and motion capture movies. You know, you might actually start seeing good video game movies being made if this one can kind of break that mold, that stereotype. I mean, have you ever seen a video game movie that was any good?
Well, now that you mention it, no.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to think if I've even seen one that was tolerable.
no. I mean,
because Doom was pretty bad.
Oh, Doom was real bad. The Final Fantasy movies, like Advent Children, I think is one of them. Though I think it was the first one, Spirit Within. God, I wish I could remember that. But that one wasn't too bad, but I didn't really feel like those were Final Fantasy movies. You know,
Yeah, they were called Final Fantasy. That one was called Final Fantasy, but it didn't feel like it had anything to do with the video game. I agree with you there.
Yeah, it was just kind of that it was done with the same type, the same style. Yeah, the Spirits Within. You know, so, and those are other games that have really good cutscenes and really good in-game movies that they put into it. So I could see those. You know, I kind of expected those to be really good, but they didn't really. They didn't feel the same, and so I'm curious to see what Blizzard, if there's anyone out there that can do it, it's going to be Blizzard, because they don't put anything out that's half-assed. I mean, they have no problems telling hundreds of thousands of screaming fans that, you know what, we're going to wait another year to put out this game that you guys have been already waiting for 10 years. We're just going to wait one more year because the game's not quite ready yet. So
yeah,
I can see them doing the same thing with this movie, and until it's exactly what they want to put out, it's not coming out. So I like the fact that the pictures are coming out, and I think the pictures look really good. So I don't think Blizzard would put the pictures out there if they didn't think they were good.
This is true, and you know, it would be curious to see what as pictures are released, and even when a trailer comes out, what our WoW player friends think of it. That'd be pretty good. And I just learned a new word, Terabad, as in Mortal Kombat movie was Terabad. So
yeah, that is yes.
Yes. Yep. Leave it to our author friend to come up with great words that we can use.
Right. Yeah.
That may be the title of this episode.
Terabad. We're not Terabad. We might be bad, but we're not Terabad.
Now let's see. We'll find out.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is definitely June 16th, 2016. I don't have my list pulled up of other movies, and I don't have it on this computer to tell you what else is coming out around that same time. But 2016, you're looking at things like Civil War, I believe, is May of 2016.
March of 2016 is Batman versus Superman.
Yeah. So, and then I believe it's December of 2016 is Star Wars. So
no, that's December this year.
Oh, that's right. That is 15. That's
yes.
This December.
Yes. Don't push it off another year. There'd be a lot of geeks out there that would just have a coronary.
Yeah, we'll have people screaming and yelling at me for it.
But we're used to that.
Yeah, you know, hey, send all your complaint emails to geekvice@gmail.com.
We need the laugh.
Yeah. You know, so there's a lot of good movies coming out in 2016, so we'll see if Warcraft and Blizzard can make a splash and break open a new avenue for tons of movies to be made. And, you know, maybe if this one does so good, it'll be the end of the the beginning of the end of comic book movies and the beginning of video game movies.
I hope so, because, there's a video game movie coming out this year called Pixels.
Yeah.
And you watch the trailer and you're like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. And then they show Adam Sandler and they're like, fuck. Now I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see it, but I'm also, my expectations for that movie are not very high. Like,
yeah. It's got Peter Dinklage, and I still think Adam Sandler's going to ruin the movie.
Well, I mean, I'm expecting to go in and see it and then go, yeah, that's all right. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. But what is, other than Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, that one was pretty bad.
That is pretty bad. I just got a question across my screen asking what you think about Jason Momoa playing Aquaman.
I think, do I think he's actually going to be able to do anything as Aquaman, or is he just going to show up and, maybe call some fish or tell Batman and Superman to quit fighting? Guys, just stop it.
Well, I can't see somebody the size of Jason Momoa sounding like that.
They're going to do something bad.
But then again, I can't picture somebody the size of Jason Momoa playing Aquaman either. It kind of looks to me like he would jump in the water and sink like a rock. Do you get that impression?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's going to be menacing, which is kind of cool. It's definitely going to give Aquaman a different look, because Aquaman doesn't, in the comic books, in all the TV shows, all the made-for-TV movies, all the DVD movies, Aquaman's never looked menacing. So Jason Momoa looks menacing. So I think he could do a really good job.
Yeah, and I'm sure they picked him because he looks the way he does, and the women are going to love it.
Yeah.
But when I hear Aquaman, I still think of the Big Bang Theory episode where Raj is dressed up as Aquaman. He's got the little horse floaty around his waist. And, dude, Aquaman sucks. That's kind of... And then you see Jason Momoa, and you're like, well, is he going to be, a love child between Conan and, some sort of mermaid or something? What the hell's going on?
And here's the problem here. Here's what I think is going to happen, and this is just my speculation on what's going to happen to this movie. And with these other characters, you're going to have Wonder Woman in there. You're going to have Aquaman in there. You've already got Superman. You're going to have Batman. They're trying to develop the Justice League off of this, and I get what they're doing, and that's fine. But my fear is Batman and Superman are going to take up so much of the screen time, whether it's maybe not filming, but in the edits when it's done, post-production, they're going to edit it out so that Batman and Superman have so much of the screen time, because they're the two big characters. They're the title characters, that you're going to have a scene where you have Wonder Woman in there. Guys, stop fighting. And Aquaman standing behind her. Yeah, guys, quit fighting. And then it's going to flash to them fighting again. Did
you get a copy of the script? Is that how you know this?
You know what? That's how much faith I have in Warner Brothers actually doing a DC movie that's worth a shit. So
I want it to be good, because they haven't done a good DC movie, in my opinion. Marvel is so far ahead of them, but it would be nice if they could hit one out of the park and make sure Marvel stays on track by giving them some competition. Yeah. But I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope. As soon as they said Ben Affleck is Batman, I shut down almost as fast as I did when I found out Adam Sandler's in Pixels. So,
and I'm less against Ben Affleck as Batman. Like, I'm not against that, but I don't have any faith in DC writing the movie. Like, that's the big thing, is they're gonna. Or hell, maybe they can write it right, but they're gonna when they go to edit it, it's gonna be edited all wrong.
Yeah. Do you know who the villain is in this?
Batman and Superman.
There's no villain. There's just
I
those
don't know.
two. Those two putting it out on the table, see which one's longer. Is that
pretty much? No, I don't know. I don't know who that. I don't know that they've even. I think Lex Luthor might be in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I should look on IMDb and see if it says anything. But you know, when they say Jason Momoa is in the movie, my first thought was he's the villain. He's going to be the bad guy. He's going to be some gigantic, bizarro Superman or something. But yeah, Aquaman just kind of threw me for a loop. Nothing against you, Jason Momoa. You could kick my ass, so you're fine. It just seemed like an odd casting move.
Yeah, it looks like right now. Well, there's at least some confirmation, which take it for what it is. I'm just did a Google search for this, but
what?
Doomsday is supposed to be in this movie, which I could see. That's a big brooding guy. I could see Momoa playing somebody closer to that range, rather than Aquaman. But Lex Luthor's gonna be in this movie, so I don't know. We'll have to see.
Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor. I forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the guy that annoys the fuck out of me is going to be Lex Luthor. So
yeah.
Yeah. And then they got some guy rumored to play Barry Allen named Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
And I'm so used to Grant Gustin playing the Flash that I'm already disappointed. So
yeah.
I guess I should hold back my disappointment until some more trailers come out and we get some reviews. But right now it's like this could be great, and I'm already bummed and haven't seen it.
Well, and I mean it kind of goes to the same thing what we talked about a couple weeks ago when you brought up the fact that that there's no Marvel characters from the TV show that have made it to the movie universe. And DC is kind of running into this point now where they've kind of set themselves up for this. They've created the Flash TV series off of the popularity of Arrow, and now they're trying to do, based off the popularity of the Marvel movies, they're trying to create a movie. The Avengers movies did so well, now they're trying to do a Justice League movie. Well, you can't do a Justice League movie without the Flash. Well, you've already got this, Barry Allen has already been set up as the Flash with this one actor. Now you're going to have this other actor play him. It's like they're going to have to find a way to make that work together, or just hope that everybody forgets. And that guy playing Flash on the movie better be really freaking good, because otherwise everyone's going to compare him to the TV series, and right, wrong, or indifferent, he's going to have to live up to that.
This is true. It makes it tough for the average fan. It really does. But now we've got to start our campaign now for everybody to talk about how great Thug number 2 is going to be in this movie. I think he should be the main villain, but he's only credited as Thug number 2, and the whole reason is it's Amon Green. And for those of you who are football nuts like me, he played running back for the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks, and he's in Batman vs. Superman. How awesome is that?
That's freaking funny.
So Thug number 2 is my favorite character now.
That is funny.
When I write a review about this, it's all going to be glowing about how awesome Thug number 2 was in Batman vs. Superman. In fact, I'm just going to start the review now, and I haven't seen one frame.
Well, it's kind of funny that you bring that up because did you hear that there are Green Bay Packers in Pitch Perfect 2?
Yes, I did hear that. Which ones?
The only one of them that I know of is Clay Matthews. There's other guys there, but they aren't as recognizable. So it's not Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. I'm going to guess they're either offensive linemen or defensive linemen because they're really big guys. But they're also it's also like 5 white guys. So, it's that's what makes me think they're offensive linemen because it's mostly big white guys. Let's see. Trying to find it. That's because 5 players. Offensive lineman David Bakateri, TJ Lang, Josh Sitton, Don Barclay, and linebacker Clay Matthews. There you go.
All those guys would hurt you for how you butchered their names, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
That's why Jason Momoa is going to be a great Aquaman in case I ever meet him.
I'm not really worried about that. I'm pretty sure none of them will come find me. There are.
You don't think you're going to cross paths with Jason Momoa anytime soon?
Nope. I'm pretty sure he's got better things to do, like riding a seahorse.
Well, okay.
Because that's what Aquaman does. Rides a seahorse.
Dude, Aquaman sucks.
And on that note, we will wrap it up for tonight.
Thug number 2. Thug number 2. Thug number 2.
You got anything else other than Thug number 2 there, Kip?
I do not. I just got all excited over the fact Almon Green's in a movie. That's pretty cool. And he's not playing a football player. So
yeah.
There you have it. And watch The Quest. Do it.
Let's see if Almon Green can have a better movie career than most football players. So yeah, but go check us out on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. Follow us on Google Plus and Facebook. Just search for Geek Vice. You can follow Kip on Twitter at Kip Killigan. It's right down there if you're watching this on YouTube. There
you go.
You can follow me on Twitter at GeekVice. And if you want to email us and tell us how much we're wrong or
how much you're going to love Thug number 2.
Yeah, tell us how much you're going to love Thug number 2. Tell us what you think about the Warcraft movie. Tell me how stupid I am for comparing Savage Worlds to D&D or anything else that we've talked about. You can email us at geekvice@gmail.com. And I believe that is it. We'll see you next week.
Good night, Isabel.